Hi there Star Wars collectors and welcome to another Bosk's Bounty video, and in this video I'm going to be ranking all of the Vintage Collection Army Builder 4 packs from worst to first. Now there are 14 to go through in this video, so I'll be talking about the pros and cons of all of them and ultimately ending up with which one I feel is the best. Of course, some are true army builders, some are more character packs, and we'll be getting into all of that in this video. If you do enjoy the video, hit the like button down below, subscribe if you're new. Now this is a video that I have wanted to do for quite a while, but every time I've gone to film it, they announce another 4-pack. Now I do believe that I have them all now, all 14 of them, but as I said, we're going to be going through them one by one and talking about the pros and cons of all of them. So let's get started. Alright then, so we're going to start off with the one that I feel is the worst, and I've gone for one of the most recent ones, which is the Battle Droid. And what reinforces that for me is that I no longer have the figures for this. I actually sold them on one of my recent Whatnot streams. So this is the box for it basically. I will throw an image up of the figures that you got with it. Essentially you got 3 Battle Droids and 1 Battle Droid Commander. And the reason it is in last place for me is because I believe that they should have gone the whole way and updated the Battle Droid from the ground up. They only really gave the figure new legs, which kind of made it out of proportion. And also the figure is still unable to hold its blaster in both hands, which is pretty important for the Battle Droid. As you can see, that one there on the drawing is holding the blaster in 2 hands. Now, and this one here. Now, unless you bend the sort of plastic around, he's not going to be able to do that. And also bending the plastic only works for a short amount of time. Soon enough, the blaster pops out of his sort of left hand that he's trying to hold it with. So really annoying set for me, this one. The figure still doesn't do what it should be able to do, and for that reason it's in last place. Next up in 13th place, I've gone for the Phase 1 Clone Trooper 4-pack. This one you got 4 Clone Troopers, standard Phase 1 Clone Troopers, and the Clone Trooper Lieutenant. Unfortunately, the figures that they included in this set were based on the old Skinny Clone, which is a figure that I never liked anyway. And soon after this, they actually gave us the all-new Clone Body, which, you know, all future Clone Troopers are based on. So for me, this set almost is obsolete now. It's based on an old sculpt, which I never really liked. And once again, I will throw up some images of the figures because once again, I've moved all of those Clone Troopers on. I have no need for them in my collection. Now, some people out there actually really do like the Skinny Clone mold. It was never for me, and I'm glad that we do have a new one. So that's why that one is in 13th place. Alright, so in 12th place, this is where you guys might start to disagree with me, and quite honestly, all of the choices now, until we get down to like the final 3, are very hard to sort of split. But obviously I'm going to go through the reasons why I feel, you know, they could have done better when putting these 4 packs out. And with this X-Wing Fighter 4-pack, this is one of those ones where I felt that it should have really been like a character pack, where it should have been like 4 named X-Wing pilots that should have been from like the Battle of Yavin or something similar. Putting out these aliens was pretty cool. It was a good idea, and this is the only one that I've kept from the 4-pack, the Duros. I think he looks pretty cool as an X-Wing pilot. Some of you guys out there would like to have these alien pilots in your sort of background scenes and things like that, in the cantina, all those kinds of things. I'm not really into that sort of thing. I would have preferred them to have, as I said, the named characters from the Yavin pack. Now, I do know that that goes against the idea of sort of Army Builder 4 packs, but Hasbro don't really follow that either. We're going to come on to some packs later on in this video which have named characters in. So yeah, as I said, this one for me, although it's a pretty good sculpt of the X-Wing pilot, it reuses Luke's body. I just felt that this was the only real sort of cool character in it that I wanted to keep. And as I said, I've moved the others on. Alright, so in 11th place, this is where it starts to get a little bit controversial because I've gone for the Death Troopers, which on the face of it is a true army builder pack. You know, this is what these 4 packs were really designed for, giving you 4 of the same trooper. Now, the reason I've gone for this one being so low down in the order is because essentially we already had lots of opportunities to get this figure previously. This figure goes all the way back to the 3.75 inch Black Series and was also reissued in the Vintage Collection on a single card. So for me, I didn't actually really need too many more Death Troopers. I already had quite a few of them. The 3.75 inch Black Series version was easy to get hold of. I had a bunch of them from the Entertainer for like £3.75 each. As I said, I didn't really need them to do an Army Builder 4-pack. But in terms of the pack itself, you know, it is a decent Army Builder pack. It is a good way of getting 4 Death Troopers. I just didn't really need them in my collection, and that's why it's so far down the list. And once again, I do apologise, I no longer have the packaging for this trooper. Alright, so in 10th place, I've gone for the Rebel Soldier Echo Base Battle Gear 4-pack. Now, again, on the face of it, this is actually quite a good army builder 4-pack. The problem with it is that it is an older sculpt. The figure has the swivel hips. And also, they did reissue the single-carded version of this character in the Vintage Collection. It became super easy to get. You could get him super cheap, essentially, and if you could get that figure super cheap, then why not just do some head swaps with that character and achieve pretty much the same thing that you could with this Army Builder 4-pack. Having said that, you know, in the premise of what an Army Builder 4-pack should be, this is actually quite a good release. I just feel the figure is so old now that there are some better ones out there, which we'll come on to. Okay, so in 9th place, I've gone for the Rebel Fleet Troopers. Now, I originally had this set much higher in my list until I realised that you didn't actually get 4 Rebel Fleet Troopers in the pack. You got 3 Rebel Fleet Troopers and Captain Antilles, which kind of ruins the whole Army Builder 4-pack of this set. However, I really do like this set because I do really enjoy the Tantive 4 playset, and obviously these figures you need for that set. It was nice to get an updated version of Captain Antilles, even though it is kind of just a repaint of the Rebel Fleet Trooper himself, and these figures also have the swivel hips. So once again, it's Hasbro using an older sculpt, getting him out there in a 4-pack, giving you a named character within the set, which was always a bit of a no-no with these sets. Other sets in the list sort of get a pass on that if it's a newer figure, as we'll come on to, but because this is quite an old figure, and also you're getting a named character in the set, that's why they are quite low down in my list in 9th place. But I still do have a soft spot for this set because it does enable you to sort of pack out that Tantive 4 playset. Okay then, so in 8th place, I've gone for the Imperial Officers 4-pack, which is a bit of a shame really, it really is, because on the face of it, this could have been a great set. It could have been one of those character packs where you get 4 named officers. I'm thinking Yularen, Tag, Tarkin, one other that you could add where there's probably a lot of different choices that you could think of from the A New Hope briefing room. But what did they do? They gave you a half and half set, and they actually locked away a pretty important character in Motti away in this Army Builder 4-pack. So essentially what you got is you got Piet and Motti, and then you got 2 random officers, one in an ISB white uniform and the other in another grey uniform. So it was a bit of a shame that they did that, because at the end of the day, this is all that I've actually got left of my Army Builder 4-pack. I've moved the other 2 on. Of course, some people out there would like to have some background officers in their displays, and that's absolutely fine. But most of the officers that we do see on screen do have names, and they often have lines in the film as well. So it would have been nice to use the awesome officer sculpt that we now have for some of those named officers. Now, maybe that's done in a different way on like a 4-pack of carded figures, maybe, I don't know. But to have 2 named characters and 2 non-named characters in this set kind of defeated the object for me, and it was a bit of a shame. And as I said, these are the only 2 that I actually have left of that set. Alright, so in 7th place, I've gone for Captain Enoch and Thrawn's Night Troopers, and just the name of this set really does dispel the whole Army Builder 4-pack. Captain Enoch and Thrawn's Night Troopers. So essentially, whenever you buy one of these packs, you're going to get a Captain Enoch. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, there's only one Captain Enoch, right? So why do we need multiple Captain Enochs? The good thing about this set is that the 3 Night Troopers that were included are all different. They have different strappings, they have different helmets. And if you do buy multiples of this set, you can actually do some head swapping like I've done with this guy. So this guy's got the same helmet as this guy, but you can actually see that the body is different on the 2. So you could do some, you know, head swapping. But as I said, you are left then with a Captain Enoch that you do not need. And if you want lots and lots and lots of these Night Troopers, then unfortunately you're going to end up with lots and lots of Captain Enochs, which isn't ideal. So for that reason, even though it's a pretty good set, this one is down in 7th place. Alright, so in 6th place, I've gone for the Phase 2 Clone Troops 212. Now, this set does suffer with the same issues that the Night Trooper set with Captain Enoch suffers from, in that you get a named clone. You get Waxer, which is a bit of a problem. However, you do get 3 identical 212 grunts, which is great. You know, if you want to army build 212, this is kind of really the only way that you can do that. The set does suffer from other issues, in my opinion anyway, in that the helmets are removable. I do prefer it when the helmets aren't removable and they are more in scale. You can just see there, they are slightly oversized helmets. However, I do have a soft spot for this set because I do like Clone Troopers in general, and I do like the 212th. And to get 3 212 Clone Troopers is pretty cool in a set. And also Hasbro listened on this one as well. Originally, this set came with the clones without that black band on their brow, and they've corrected that basically. They, you know, sort of reissued it and corrected that, or did a running change as it were. So you were eventually able to pick up the ones which look more like the 212th from the live action rather than the Clone Wars. So Hasbro kind of get bonus points for that as well. So yeah, 212s for me are in 6th place. Okay, so in 5th place, I've gone for the Tusken Raiders from the Book of Boba Fett, or based on their appearance from the Book of Boba Fett. So they don't look like your classic A New Hope Tusken Raiders. They are dressed in, you know, different shades of brown and black and things like that. I haven't been putting all of the figures out for these because it's just really hard for me to get them all out of the cabinet and put them all back, but you get the idea. But this set suffers from the same issues as the Captain Enoch and the 212th, in that you get a named character. You get the Chieftain. That was a pretty poor move in my opinion for Hasbro to put the Chieftain in this 4-pack. However, saying that, the 4 Tusken Raiders that you do get in this set are pretty decent, and they have been updated in some way. They all have barbell hips and things like that, so they all have new legs, but a lot of the figure is based on that original Tusken Raider. But they did mix them up quite nicely, where you've got 3 different styles of Tusken and the Chieftain, which was, as I said, a bit of a problem. But I do love this set because you do get a nice range, and if you're only going to buy one of these, you kind of get 3 Tuskens, which is enough maybe, and you also get the Chieftain as well. So for my little Book of Boba Fett setup that I have, the little display that I have, you know, this set goes quite nicely with it. So I'm quite fond of it, and that's why it's in 5th place. Alright then, we're getting down to the nitty gritty now. In 4th place, I've gone for the Shore Troopers 4-pack. Now, some would say that this defeats the object of a army builder 4-pack because you do actually get 2 ranked like officers within the pack. I think you get a sergeant and a captain. I can't actually remember what ranks they are. And then you also get 2 standard grunts, which is the same figure that you can get on that Rogue One card back. But this for me was actually quite a nice looking set. You've got some variations of your Shore Troopers. So of course, you know, you get 2 grunts to army build, and then you also get, you know, the captain or the sergeant, whichever way round it is. One of them's got a soft goods sort of skirt there on the back, and I'm just liking the sort of paint applications on these. They look different from one another, and also I did kind of buy quite a few of these guys at the time on the single card, so I didn't really need too many more of these. So just one more set of these worked out perfectly for me. You get the 2 sort of ranked officers, if you like, and 2 grunts to go with the many grunts I already had. So for me, this set actually ranks quite highly. I love the design of the Shore Troopers as well, and they're in 4th place. Alright, so in 3rd place, I've gone for the first ever army builder pack that they released, which was the Stormtroopers. Now this one caused a bit of controversy because it sold out really quick. People got annoyed, and it's actually quite expensive now on the secondary market. Now you'll notice that I've only got 3 of them here. You do get a 4th Stormtrooper with a red pauldron. Now you can remove that pauldron and then just have 4 standard Stormtroopers. I actually can't find my figure with the pauldron, so I do apologise about that. And I no longer have the packaging either. But essentially, it was kind of like the perfect army builder 4-pack. You got 4 Stormtroopers basically, and one of them you could make into a ranked officer, which was awesome. Great way to get Stormtroopers. You can never have enough Stormtroopers. They go in loads of different displays. So that for me was a really, really good 4-pack. Now, the reason it's not in top position is because it is based on the Rogue One design of the Stormtrooper. So he kind of has those bell bottoms. He doesn't have the rocker ankles. You know, they've updated the Stormtrooper a fair bit since this one came out. So that's why it gets knocked down ever so slightly. But in terms of an army builder 4-pack, this is the model that they should have really sort of stayed on. 4 troopers, one of them that you can kind of add a piece to make a officer, and you're done. You know, I'm sure many people bought multiples of the Stormtrooper set, which is why it's probably quite difficult for people to get hold of. Alright, so in 2nd place, I've gone for the Phase 2 Clone Troopers, and this will cause some controversy, I am sure, because thinking about it now, should this one really be ranked so highly, judging by the fact that it's a bit of a mismatch in what you get inside? You get 2 standard white clones, phase 2, and then you get a 501st, and then you also get a 332nd Ahsoka clone, which I no longer have in my collection. I've moved it on, and this is maybe one of the issues with it, really. I think what Hasbro were trying to do is they were trying to sort of match this up with the final season of the Clone Wars, where you did get a mix of all of them. You very rarely see the standard white phase 2 clone in Revenge of the Sith, for example. You see a lot of the 501st, the 212th, etc. But you rarely see the actual standard white clones. They kind of sort of appear more in the Clone Wars. Now, however, I've got to say I still really enjoy this set because it is a way of getting a 501st Clone Trooper without the removable helmet. Of course, they've reissued it now on the Kenobi card back, so you know, we are able to get more of those, but at the time this was the only way that you could get what I believe is the perfect 501st Clone Trooper, essentially. So I bought a few of these packs, moved on the 332nd, so I could use those funds to try and get more 501st, which I'm not going to lie was quite difficult. I did keep the standard phase 2 Clone Troopers because they're going to go in my turbo tank, and then I've got a little setup of 501st. As I mentioned, moved on the 332nd. So the only real negative about this set for me was the makeup of it, basically. You know, why can't they just give us a set of 4 501st Clone Troopers and that's it? You know, I'd buy loads of those. I'd certainly buy more of those than I did of this set. But having said that, it's still a great Clone Trooper. You're still getting some good clones in there, and for that reason it's in second place, but I'm sure a lot of you out there are going to disagree. Alright, in first place, from the worst to first of the Army Builder 4 packs, I'm sure it's going to come as no surprise that I've ranked the Snow Troopers in first place. Now, the reason is simple, really. This is the perfect Army Builder 4 pack. You're getting 4 of exactly the same figures. Now, I know there have been other instances of that with the Death Troopers and things like that, but this for me is a brand new figure. It's a brand new sculpt. It's got everything you need in terms of articulation. It's got the barbell hips. Everything is brand new about this, and to get an Army Builder 4 pack so soon is just a great thing in my opinion. This enables us to Army build the Snow Trooper. What a fantastic design of character as well, and I was just over the moon that they did this. This for me is the perfect Army Builder 4 pack. It's what this has been designed for, and essentially it's very much like the Stormtrooper one as well, but for me the Stormtrooper one, based on the Rogue One figure, it's an older version of that Stormtrooper. This is a brand new figure available in the 4 pack, and also they didn't skimp on the quality of the figures either, which they have done in the past with paint applications being a bit wonky and things like that. These are exactly the same as the single release in my opinion. They've got the weathering on the boots, everything going for it basically, and that is why this is the best Army Builder 4 pack in my opinion. But please let me know your thoughts. Let me know which you feel is the worst, which is the best. Any other comments that you have about these Army Builder 4 packs. I don't think they've stopped with them. We're going to get some more for sure. But let me know your comments. Always interested to know. But thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you to my Patreon supporters and channel members. As always, your support means a great deal to me. So thank you so much. Thanks for watching, everybody. And we shall see you on the next one.